You want to stop letting your days slip away and start leading your life with intention and purpose to pursue your full potential? Then you're in the right place, my friend. Welcome to the Claim Your Day podcast. I'm your host, Nick Mazie. Here, we stop just managing our demanding lives and begin to actively pursue our best lives, rooted in our values and purpose. Each week, we'll discuss practical strategies focused on becoming intentional with all that we do so we can live and lead well. Together, let's make today count. Hello, my friend, and welcome. Welcome to episode 64 of the Claim Your Day podcast. Glad you're here. Glad you're joining in. Glad you've been with us in this series. And this is the last episode of this series. But it's really about addressing the striving for this work-life balance. And in this episode, this series, we've been calling it a work-life blend. Like, it's not always balanced. It's not always 50-50. And it doesn't really need to be. But we need to be intentional with being present where we're at, making the most of, if we're at work, making the most of that time, acting with, integrity and giving it our best. And the same thing, we're at home with our family and when we're with our friends and we're enjoying ourselves. If you missed any of the previous episodes, make sure you go back and check them out wherever you're listening to this episode. You can catch those two. Subscribe so you don't miss any future ones. So we're going to be diving into the next series. It's all about going from stuck to making progress. And what do you do with when you have these core values that you want to live out? When you have goals you want to achieve? Are they really aligned? How can you make progress if you're just feeling like you're stuck and just trying to keep up? Well, we're going to tackle all of that in this next series. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of those upcoming episodes. But for this one today, we're gonna directly address and challenge this endless ladder, this endless need to continually achieve this next goal. Like asking, when will this work end? When is enough enough? Without a clear definition of success, it's easy to just keep working and have this like guilt and desperation of it just never ending. Well, we're gonna directly challenge that, address that, and hopefully conquer that. And we're going to start in this episode right here today. So there's a danger of just going from one achievement to the next, because it is just this endless ladder. Like, once you get one promotion or you knock out a big project, land a big client, achieve something with your family, and do something that's meaningful together that you wanted to accomplish together and to do and experience. Maybe some place that you wanted to visit and activities you wanted to do. But once you do one thing, and you have that success, that achievement, you accomplished it, then what's the next thing? What's the next thing we can go to? And it's easy just to have this endless ladder of never being enough, because there's always the next thing to do. So John Maxwell talks about this a little bit, kind of related, when he talks about, before he really got into a lot of personal growth, he was always, trying to achieve this next thing. Or I should say, it was after he started to make a personal growth plan, he started to make some progress. He realized he was getting caught up in this, from one achievement to the next and one achievement to the next. And there's a big shift that he talks about, and it's something that I try to apply to my life. And it's not necessarily, how long will it take for me to achieve X, Y, or Z. That's very much, if we're looking at achievement, things we want to accomplish, then it's, well, how long is it going to take for me to do that? When can I achieve that thing? His major shift that he talks about is something that I'm trying to apply to my life, because it's pretty profound. Instead of saying, how long will it take me to do blank? Instead of putting that limit on how far you'll go and just trying to get there as quickly as you can, so, really asking yourself, how far can I go? Not how long will it take, but how far can I go? And see, with this, we're giving up this focus on achieving one thing or the next. Instead of looking at those, concrete just limits of what we're going to do. Oh, we're going to achieve this one thing in these bounds, and it's a SMART goal. That's great. A lot of value into that, setting those SMART goals. But we focus too much on achieving one thing, and then we go to the next, and it can be just this endless ladder. Instead, shouldn't we be asking ourselves, instead of how long will it take for us to achieve these things so we can move on to the next? Instead of asking ourselves that, shouldn't we just be asking ourselves, how far can we go? How far can we go to really pursue our potential, to live out our best lives? the lives that we are creating for, ones of meaning and purpose, fulfilling what we're put on this world to do, having the impact that we possibly can have, truly fulfilling that potential. We can ask ourselves, how far can we go? And then all of a sudden, the one achievement or the next doesn't matter as much. We're going to always be trying to get better and improve to fulfill this potential that we were created with. And then when you think about it like that, like the full potential, all of a sudden, it's not about one thing or the next. And it's inspiring, it's invigorating, because you don't have to worry about, it's going to take me this long to do this thing, this long to do this thing. No, this is the rest of my life, and I'm going to continue to get better in the areas that are most important to me and my core values. What if we shifted to that? See, when your growth and your achievement align with your core values and your purpose, then you're never going to give up. You're never going to stop living your life. And it's always going to be with fulfilling your purpose and your potential. And that's a great thing, because that can keep you inspired and moving forward, because you're going to always have a greater impact and be able to live out the life that's most important to you, your family, your values, and those core values that you have. So how can you do this? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that, create goals and milestones aligned with your values. Now, I know we saw we're not going to just go from one achievement to the next 100%. But we still can create goals that we want how we're going to live out those values, so that we can go in the direction that we want it to go. We can go in the direction we want it to go, so we can live the lives we want to live. So create values and milestones that are going to keep you in line, or create goals and milestones that are going to keep you in line with your values. And then define your success. You have to define your success. And I want to encourage you to just not being a destination. Your success isn't when you achieve a certain thing, when you hit a certain lifestyle or net worth, or that promotion. Because if you're only defining success and once you arrive at a destination, then what are you, not successful on your way there? Well, that can't be the case. What if you're making progress and you're doing the things that are actually helping you to get to living that life, or having that impact, or helping the people that you want to help? If you're doing all those things and you're on track with that, then that's kind of successful. So I want you to think about how you would define success, not as a destination, but think about your habits, your behaviors, your choices. Are you on track and making progress in the direction that you want your life to go, to fulfill your potential, to live your best life for your family? Define success not attached to a destination, but by what you're actually doing. So if you're creating goals and milestones that are aligned with your values, then you know the direction that you want to take your life. You know the direction that you want to act, the direction you want to grow in. And then define success by what it's going to take for you to stay on that path. Not with just having that destination, that final destination, that goal, but to stay on that path and continue to go in that direction. So you're going to create those goals and milestones that's going to give you the right direction in line with your values. You're going to define success not by the destination, by what you're doing to make that progress in that area of life, or the areas of life that are most important to you. And the third key point for this episode is I want you to commit, or at least be willing to commit, to being the best that you can be in what's the most important to you in the long term. See, if you commit to being the best that you can be, then it's not about hitting a certain milestone or a certain position or achievement. Instead, you're going to continue to get better, because the areas of life that are most important to you are really important. They're valuable. That's where your significance can come from, and the impact that you're going to have on other people is going to come from the areas of life that are most important to you. Now, your values might be a little bit different than the next person. That doesn't mean that one's right and one's wrong. It just means the things that speak to you and your heart and your skills and your gifts and your blessings that for you are going to be a little bit different than the next person. But if you focus on becoming the best that you can be, then you're going to use all the gifts and abilities that you've been given to truly live out and fulfill your potential. But that doesn't happen if you're not committing to that lifelong, that continual progress, that pursuit of your potential, which is always going to get better as you get better. As you hone your skills and get better and develop your strengths, they're going to get better. And when you give your best gets better. That's why you have to do this third point. You have to do this last part of committing to being the best that you can be through the ups and the downs and all in the in-betweens, that messy middle, as they say, committing to being your best means you're not going to give up. You're not going to give up. You're always going to be pursuing your definition of success that's not tied to a destination. By creating goals and milestones that you can objectively say, hey, I'm on the right track, or hey, I need to make an adjustment. Those are the 3 points for today's episode that's going to help you to not succumb to the endless ladder of just chasing one achievement and the next over and over and over again and just getting burnout, because it's not fulfilling. And if you always have that next thing you have to reach for, then you're never really successful, because that next thing is always off in front of you. Instead, we're going to adjust our definition of success, not tied to that destination. It's going to help keep us on track. Sound like a plan, my friend? Well, you can do this. Don't let the endless ladder, capture you. Do this, and your work-life blend is going to be a whole lot better, as we talked about in the last few episodes. So your one takeaway, your action step for this that I want to challenge you with is go out there, take a few minutes and go out and define your success. Not the destination, but how you living can be your success with your habits, your choices, and commit to fully pursuing that. What is success to you, my friend? Well, thank you for listening. Glad you stayed with us. Make sure you subscribe. We have another series coming up. It's all about breaking free from stuck to making progress. I think you'll like it. It's going to be some things that we all can do in our lives to continue to live our best lives, to claim our days, make the most of them, so we can live the best we can for what's most important to us, our family, our values, and have that impact we want to have. All right. Thank you for listening. Take care. I can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode.